What is up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf. 3 times a charm on a full moon night. This is the only live call-in show on YouTube. Okay, not really. But it is the only one with the confidence of 3 times strong. I don't know what that means. We'll be right back after this. All right. Let's go. Let's get this through the show. You guys already know, if you've already watched the first couple intros, just to spin right through my normal announcements. Dex, can we do a sound check real quick?
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle Fam.
Dex can screen calls, and then he can also load up articles and things that you guys end up giving to us. You can go to MARFOOGLEnews.com, and you can actually see all of the articles. We take the time before every single show to end up putting them here. You can read along, or you can go back later. Even if it's 10 years later, you can find this there. Or if the internet exists in 10 years and we're not just, virtual virtual people in pods like the Matrix. So again, you can go to this, you can actually read along to the articles, and then afterwards you can call in at 2244-00-MARF, and you can actually share your opinion, you can share your information, or if you have documents, videos, or anything else that you want to share with the Foogle Fam, you can do so. Also, this is a great reference for any of our other channels, for our Discord group, over 11,000 people. If you're active military, join there as well. And we have notification systems on the website. If you go to MARFOOGLEnews.com, you can actually see a little box that pops up in the corner. Press allow. Basically, it's like clicking the bell. You will guaranteed get notifications as long as you do that. There is no other purpose for it. It has no terms of service or anything like that, because all it does is it notifies you when we put the videos on to the website, which means we're live. So if you want to do that, you can. We're going to get straight into the news. Thank you, Dex, for being patient as well. This is our 3rd try. We got knocked off 2 other times, so we must be close. Maybe they know what's on my screen. We're going to talk about several things that are pretty crazy. So this is what a devastating earthquake in California would look like. The high-rise towers that served as landmarks of this city are mostly gone. Blocks where historic brick buildings once stood are now vacant. At the city center, Christ Church Cathedral remains in ruins. The workday bustle in one of New Zealand's leading commercial centers, abandoned by many employers, has slowed. A once steady stream of tourists dramatically slimmed. 8 years ago, a huge earthquake ruptured directly under, I don't even know if we can say that word because of what else happened there, killing 185 people. Full recovery remains elusive. The city offers an urgent lesson to California, whose major cities situated along seismic faults face similar threats. A reminder of that came July 5th, when the largest earthquake to hit California in 2 decades shook the Ridgecrest area. Had it been centered under Los Angeles, the destruction would have easily dwarfed what happened in Sea Church in New Zealand. Since that magnitude 6.2 earthquake hit New Zealand on February 22nd, 2011, the recovery has been painfully slow. The physical and economic and psychological aftershocks continue. So they had a really, really bad earthquake there. Obviously, what they're trying to do is they are trying to show us that, say, if that earthquake or even the Ridgecrest earthquake was centered underneath California, how truly bad it would be. Now, we've seen some pretty bad earthquakes in California, but we haven't seen the big one. Now, if you followed my channel for any time being, that you would know that I talk about earthquakes a lot. And some people call it fear porn, some people call it this, but they also don't probably realize we have real people actually meeting, some as often as 2 or 3 times a week, some once a week, once a month. And these people are actually preparing and getting together and, exchanging tips and exchanging all sorts of information. A lot of the audience of mine are real preppers, and they are really serious. So again, we try to have fun here because obviously if we're going to sit here for 2.5 hours and get a bunch of information, it's got to enthrall you. It's got to keep you here for 2.5 hours, which somehow we do, even with all of the stupid things that happen during a live show. So I really do appreciate each and every one of you. I think that this stuff is coming sooner than later. A lot of you agree with me. And, people made fun of me in the beginning. I used to do streams to nobody. I would literally talk in my car on my break and but people related. And that's the thing that, from the heart, I really think that we are expecting something big that was relatable to people. People feel the same way. And now I get thousands of emails a day between our website and everything else. It's crazy how much, information we get from you guys. I, of course, have friends and family in either military or even some in FEMA, and you have to actually look at what they're saying. They're thinking that the whole West Coast is going to be toast. I mean, those are words the FEMA director used. So this is a very serious thing. And of course, would they tell you if they knew that, or even if they thought that it was going to happen soon? Absolutely not. There are millions and millions, I should say billions of dollars flooding through California, which I think California is the number 5 moneymaker in the entire U.S., and it's a lot of money rolling through there. They wouldn't tell you if the whole thing was going to fall off into the water. I think it really gets down to the heart of everybody. Even if they don't live in California, most people know somebody who does. Honestly, I mean, how many cities all over the country do you know a cousin or a neighbor or somebody who, went there to be an actor or went there to get discovered or something? Everybody has one of those in the family. There's plenty of people that have family there. So that's one thing to consider. Other than that, when the big one happens, when the really big one happens, when you have Cascadia, what if Cascadia and the San Andreas go off at the same time? This isn't a rock movie. This is a serious thing. Even when I talked to Chris Goldfinger, one of the lead seismologists, the guy that made it famous, he's got his own TED Talk on the earthquake situation there. He said 20 years ago, they would have thought that you were crazy if you said the Cascadia could actually trigger a different earthquake. Now they know for an absolute fact that Cascadia subduction zone, when they have a full margin rupture, a 700-mile long strip down the West Coast is all going to shake, that can actually trigger not only earthquakes, but also volcanoes. It says Now, I want to talk about CC. We'll call it CC because this also had a really horrific event and probably filtered as far as that word goes. But we're going to talk about that here in a second. It says the quake redrew the geography of CC. Downtown is now flatter and smaller, with 1,500 buildings in the central business district have been demolished. Some businesses left for the suburbs and never came back. Officials also bought and demolished 8,000 houses along rivers, the coast, and the hills, and restricted those areas from future development. That's because it shook it up so much, it turned the soil, everything into just crap. And that's what's going to happen to California. So, should you be buying a business, right on the coast in California? Probably not. Especially, even if you have insurance or something like that, you're probably not going to even be able to rebuild there. You're going to have to move somewhere else. And does your insurance cover it if you have to move your building? I actually heard from somebody the other day that said, if it is so bad where you cannot rebuild, which a lot of people are predicting, then they will not relocate you. So they only give you the money if you're going to rebuild what you had, which sounds crazy to me, because if that happened, is there not like a little, kind of loophole? It says, in addition to commerce moving out of the city center, projects intended to restore CC, a convention center, a recreation center, a sports stadium, have not been completed. This is 8 years ago, folks. Some are years away from becoming a reality. Earthquake-related physiological distress has been widespread, with post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and depression reported years after the shaking. You know, it says, we always used to say recovery is getting back to normal life. The thing is, after an event like this, normal life has changed, and it's never going to be the same again, said James Thompson, a regional government emergency management official. So that's somebody with, one of their regional FEMA guys. So you recover into a new normal or a new way of living, and change that will stay with people forever. So I guess the point is after this happens, California will be redrawn. Washington will be redrawn. Oregon will be redrawn. Our coast will be different. It will be redrawn. This is going to be a huge thing. And now we have so much information of random shaking under volcanoes that are not normally shaking. You've got earthquake swarms. You've got all sorts of hot spots off of Washington, Oregon, and California. It seems to me like, it's a ticking time bomb, and we're just waiting for it to happen. So this one thing that I want to say is, West Coast people, or if you have family on the West Coast, have them prepare. I won't, drill a dead horse, but seriously, it is getting really crazy right now. All right, and Ring security camera hacks see homeowners subjected to racial abuse and ransom demands. Now, Dex, you put this one in here. Can you explain what the heck this is talking about?
Well, we keep hearing about lots of challenges with the Ring system, and in this particular case, we talked about hackers, but I think there was one story about Annie in the past. But there's more and more of these cases where people are hacking into to people, whether they're talking to a child, or to in the past case a nanny. There's lots of these different hacks that are taking place into the home, and we're putting these devices in our home and basically opening this door up and allowing people to potentially hack in on us.
Now, so here's one thing to think about. Everybody is, for Christmas and for Black Friday, the things that they really put the most discount on, which people don't even realize this, are the Amazon Fire Sticks, the Google Hubs, all of the Google devices, all the Alexas. All of those things were crazy cheap. If you looked at any of the Black Friday prices, it was like I think it was $150 Alexa speaker. It was a special one that had all these features, a cool screen. It was like $35. And here's the thing. Yes, they probably lost like $50-$60 on that. Or, they might have even broke it. I don't know how much they cost to make, but it had like a TV screen on it. It had touch screen, everything. And I was thinking, well, why would they do that? And then I was thinking, then I know why. Well, because they are getting these things in every house. In one way or another, you are having a device that actually has a camera on it in your house. The Google Hub is essentially a tablet with a forward-facing camera and an always listening device, just like all the Alexas, all of the smart speakers, all of the Google Homes, all of the Siris, all of these little things that you're putting in your house. They're listening to you. They are videoing you now. See, here's the thing. They've had these devices that could listen to us for a long time in our house. In fact, they've had, tons and tons of luck with this. People are doing it for convenience. When you say, okay, Google, order a pizza, it's doing it. And I bet you there's like 10,000 people at home that just had their phone actually try to order them a pizza. That's the scary thing. And, the sound was one thing, but now they are actually adding video. And people are going to do it. The first one that I talked about even a year ago, or maybe 8-9 months ago, was Google Clips. Google Clips was a device. I mean, it was probably the size of this lid, and it was it's a little square. It's still selling. You can buy Google Clips, and actually, what that is, and I'll just show you a picture of it real quick. It's an AI generated camera. Google Clips. Boom. So let me just show you an image of this thing. And the idea behind it is it took the perfect picture. Not only that, it learned. You could clip it onto your shirt. You could, put it on, and literally they showed their example, putting it on your mantle. And then the AI basically decides when the perfect picture happens, when the lighting is perfect, when everything is just absolutely perfect. The bad part of this, and not trying to piss off daddy parent company here, but the scary part about this is that it does it all on its own, and it takes the photos, whenever, and it's Wi-Fi connected. They said some things that, they when people said something about this, they had an answer for everything. But one thing I want to share about this is they did not make a big deal about this. If you haven't seen this, it's because they quietly released it. That's even how the articles talked about it when it first came out. They said quietly released. They literally released them, put them on shelves, didn't talk about any of it because they knew it would be a big deal. An AI controlled camera that takes pictures when it thinks it's appropriate. That's really kind of scary to me. But again, these are just the beginning. This was one of their experiments. Now they have the Google Hubs and all these things that are in your home. You put them on your kitchen counter while you're, being your Martha Stewart self. You have your little tablet and you're tapping on things and looking at the recipe. Meanwhile, it's actually watching you, and it can record you, and it's going to hear what you're using, what kind of food you're using, everything else. It's going to work in chorison with your other smart devices, whether you have a smart toaster, which yes, they exist, smart oven, smart fridge, smart devices other than that in the kitchen. I mean, there's tons of them now. And it will be able to actually know where you're walking by the fields that you're walking through. And we've talked about this. Eventually, they're going to know exactly where you are in your own home by how the devices react to each other and how the signal goes and everything else. They're designing Li-Fi with an L, which is actually LED emitting Wi-Fi. It's actually wireless internet that comes from an LED light. So, and they say it's going to be faster than Wi-Fi. So when you walk in the mall and you're in the bathroom with these weird LED lights, that's actually going to be your internet source. As long as you have somewhere where it's light, you're going to have a super, super fast internet connection. But the problem with that is that it is the sensing behind it. I just tweeted out that they're using now millimeter wave technology for airports. Well, now I just heard word that they're going to be using this for other technologies that could go in your home. It's a scary thing, and a lot of it, and I bet you we're going to find out that some of these weird technologies are going to cross paths, and we're not going to find out about it until way later. Like I tweeted, there's going to be a company like Kramer and Kramer that, one of those TV lawyers, it's like, if you've used the Google, or I shouldn't even say it, if you've used the clips for more than 3 years and got diagnosed with cervical cancer, you can call Kramer and Kramer. We're not going to know it until, it's too late that something like this. And I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not trying to, this doesn't cause anything, right? Nothing caused any of that. These are just wireless devices. But in that 5G territory, when these things cross paths, it's going to be really rough. Dex, you know better than anybody too, how much they're looking at people and looking to basically get every piece of information they can on us.
Adam, it's not just, that's like the obvious. That's the scary part. We put these devices in our home. We, allow ourselves to be tracked by all the information, and the big person in the sky, or the controlling interest, parties to be, have access to all that. But we're also in this particular example, we're taking a product and putting it in our homes, thinking it's convenient for us, and we're allowing these sleazy hackers that have nothing to do with the companies themselves actually come in and start talking to our children and scaring them and doing weird, crazy things with them because, we don't necessarily do the right thing to protect ourselves. We don't use strong passwords. We don't have a password manager. We don't use VPNs, etc. Those types of, we take these convenience things and they're okay. that feels good. And then when you turn around and you walk away, there's some creepy guy coming into your camera and talking to the kid and making him destroy the room and tear the TV, things like that. That's not good.
Okay, and exactly what he said. So one thing to think about is that we've said this before, that, in fact, somebody was arguing with somebody else on comments saying that that doesn't happen. I have one of those for my apartments, and they don't even do that. What somebody claimed is that their parents' house, I believe, had an emergency alert come through the speaker of it. And then somebody else argued and said, I have 5 of those, and I own apartments, and they never do that. Here's the thing. If they have a speaker and if they have that voice option, yeah, they could. Somebody could be out in a car outside, messing with them. And what's crazy is that this is really happening. People are hacking these left and right. So as far as Ring security and all of these other things, it's really kind of scary. And think about your baby monitors, things like that you're putting on your baby, and then some creepo is, 5 miles away watching your baby, or even creepier, right outside your house, hooked up to your Wi-Fi. Again, that's why you want to protect yourself online. It's just really creepy. It says multiple U.S. families have reported incident of Ring camera systems being hacked in recent days, raising questions as to whether systems are allowing hackers to access to people's homes without ever having to set foot inside. Owners of Ring security cameras in Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, and Texas reported incidents where hackers tormented families with racial slurs, encouraged children into destructive behavior, and demanded a ransom in Bitcoin. So there's a pattern here that's going on, and this is really, really weird. Why are, multiple states, the same thing is going on? This is something bigger. This is something definitely super creepy. It says, I can't even put into words how violated I feel. It's really like it's my worst nightmare. Mississippi mom Ashley LeMay told ABC's Good Morning America. Lee May installed a Ring camera in her daughter's room to keep an eye on them while she worked overnight shifts as a nurse. Only 4 days after installing it, her 8-year-old daughter, Alyssa, heard music and a banging noise coming from the room where the camera was installed. Alyssa says that when it began, she began looking for the source of the noise. She heard a voice saying, I'm Santa Claus. Do you want to be my best friend? And, or if you get, I'm Santa Claus. Do you want to be my best friend? Imagine how creepy that would be coming out of your baby monitor or your camera. It says Lee May said the voice taunted Alyssa and encouraged her to mess up her room and break her TV before her dad came into the room and shut the camera off. Super creepy. She says, I was even scared of my room for a few days. I'm still a little bit scared of it, Alyssa told GMA. And it says, in response to the incidents, Ring said in a statement, quote, customer trust is important to us, and we take the security of our devices seriously. While we are still investigating this issue and are taking appropriate steps to protect our devices based on our investigation, we are able to confirm this incident is no way related to a breach or compromise of Ring's security. Again, this was a breach in their security, their Wi-Fi. And what's crazy is half of these people have an actual password. So they're getting hacked with a password on their internet. It says, quote, due to the fact that customers often use the same username and password for their various accounts and subscriptions, bad actors often reuse credentials stolen or leaked from one service on another service. And it says, as a precaution, we highly and openly encourage all Ring users to enable two-factor authentication on their Ring account, add shared users instead of sharing login credentials, and use strong passwords and regularly change their passwords. Even then, there's guys with devices. Now, if you've seen some of the documentaries covering this stuff, it's really creepy. They can hack almost anything, anything Wi-Fi, including cars. They've been hacking Teslas. Now, it says, It's scary stuff. Cybersecurity expert says recording device investigation at Hyatt Hotel is not uncommon. So if you really want to be creeped out at a hotel, listen to this. It says, once I get past all this cruddy crap, it says, police are investigating a report of recording devices found in guest rooms at a Minneapolis hotel. WCCO's Esme Murphy spoke with a cybersecurity expert who warned situations like this are not only both common and hard to detect. Minneapolis police continue to release few details about the investigation, including what exactly they found and how many Hyatt hotel rooms were affected. Much of the information in a police report has been redacted. What in the heck? Redacted? It says, it's scary stuff, said Mark Lanterman, Computer Forensic Services. Mark Lanterman is a former investigator for the U.S. Secret Service Electronic Crimes Task Force. He's also the Chief Technology Officer for Computer Forensics, a cybersecurity firm whose clients include a Hennepin County Sheriff's Department and the Ramsey County Attorney Office. Quote, does this shock you? Esme Murphy asked. No, it doesn't shock me, Lanterman replied. Lanterman sat with the WCCO as he browsed the internet for affordable, high-powered, small surveillance cameras. $36 for a camera that big. And he essentially holds up like this. So, more and more, they're finding them in bathrooms. They're finding them in tanning salons. They're finding them in hotel rooms. They're finding them in schools. Like, actually, this is why, like, when I go to my daughter's school, they require not only a sign-in, you have to have a badge. I think they even have, like, a little tracker thing on you when any parent or any person visits the school. That way that you can't just, like, fake or print one out. You actually have to have a track. It's like a black box for walking into school. And that's because it's getting this weird. Imagine a parent walking into the school and putting a camera in the bathroom or something. That's creepy. And that's happened. That's the scary part. And this is happening a lot and all over the place. And it's mostly because now the technology has gotten so small, it's gotten wireless. If you have an outlet, it can even hook up to, say, a wireless. They hack the simple Wi-Fi that's available to the teachers or to the staff there, and then boom, they can be at home a million miles away and have no evidence connecting them. So, I would always check the little cracks. Now, cameras can literally be in a pinhole. So the same hole, they can be in a hole the size, like, say if you put a thumbtack in the wall and pull it out, that little hole could be a high definition security camera. That's why they're so hard to spot nowadays. Pretty creepy. What do you think? Give me a call at 224-400-MARF.
Adam, I wonder if there's just a little more to this story that we're not being told yet, especially with all the redactions. If there's something bigger that was actually happening at a criminal level with either human trafficking or something like that, with these hotel rooms being reconfigured with these cameras.
Now, can I ask you, was it Hyatt Hotel where they found those melted bodies in the... What hotel was that?
I don't remember that hotel. That's a good question.
Do you remember what I'm talking about? Let me look it up. They remember this? Oh my gosh! Do you remember? It was a Q thing, and they talked about the two bodies found in. Let's see here. Found at. Yeah,
this story. I mean, we've certainly heard lots of. The accusation of a Southwest pilot putting a little camera in the lavatory airplane. We've heard lots of these different stories. It seems a little interesting because of the fact that it was across. Many different hotel rooms. So it seems very systematic. Kind of curious if there's something more here, especially with all the notion of the police redacting a lot of the information that was in there.
And let's see here. I wanted to say found in acid. Is that what it was? Let's see. Oh my gosh, Can somebody in the chat, do you remember what Q covered like 7-8 months ago with the, it was the weird hotel. They showed the hotel and then they showed that like they found two bodies or something in those acid containers or something. And they were basically, melted. Oh my gosh. I want to say it was Hyatt. And what if? Like, what if this is connected? Back then, they said it was possibly connected to some sort of mafia or something like that, or some sort of other group. Let's see here. Somebody said some patients. This is. Can you? We'll pass through this because we need. We're gonna.